let's come over to you, Y.A.Poetria. Let's get. This is my spoken word star extraordinaire. We started our spoken word journey around the same time. So
you were there my first time ever.
And it was my first performance. It was Flow when I did Impolite Notice that first time. And since then, I've just seen you grow, blossom. I see you everywhere. And I hear your words, and they're so deep and heartfelt. And you're a beautiful, wonderful role model. So I'd like to say congratulations on your journey and everything that you've been doing. So when did you actually start writing poetry?
I've always wrote, but I never wrote poetry. So I wrote songs. Okay. So from about 17, 18, I used to go to a studio and write some bits and pieces and, call them songs. Then I stopped, had the kids, dealt with all of the mother, maternal, day-to-day, running around duties. And then about August last year, May last year, I'm making up the date, I wrote something. I was in my feelings. I thought, I wonder if I can still. And I liked it. So I called my brother. He said, okay, let's go. We went down to the show. You were there, you performed. And then it kind of spiraled from there. First couple of times it was more the adrenaline rush. I hadn't been anywhere where my heart was racing. I was scared and I was nervous, but then afterwards I felt a huge sense of achievement. And then you see the audience and the energy that you get in that one crowd, and people are like, it's so vulnerable. You're there exposing your feelings, like the deepest part of you that you don't want anyone to see, but you're there talking about things that have affected you. And then it's in a safe space, and then you're like, wow, this is, I like this. This almost feels therapeutic. But then the second time, okay, right, yeah. And by the third, fourth time, it was more the venting, going somewhere, expressing myself, and people going, wow, I like that. And then from then on, my journey's changed because it went from venting to being purposeful. So I started off just having things that I needed to say and talking about my journey and things that I felt were important, and then turning that into something which empowers other people. So turning that into something which encourages self-expression, but it also helps other people to understand the benefits of writing. For me, it's changed my whole life. So that's my...
And I can see you blossoming like a bud. When we came, we were like buds, and then you do blossom. I think poetry. What inspires you? As well as?
Yeah, everything. It's, for me, I wouldn't describe myself as conventional, but I understand I'm a British-born Asian woman of Bangladeshi descent. Mum's Welsh. I'm bringing up West Indian children. I live in South London. There was no identity. Everything was like, what you do? Yeah, United Nations. Everybody was like, what's happening? Who are you? I grew up very academic. I was very, very, very studious. So for me to make the kind of life choices I made, everyone went, what is going on? They just assumed, I'd take a more traditional path, and I couldn't do it. It's not for me. It's never been for me. But in my more academic time as a student or as a young person, I was very involved in politics, like young people's politics and different so it led me to do different things that other people wouldn't have been doing my age. So one of the things we did was I was involved in like a Make Space campaign, which is almost like passing a bill at Parliament, but it was to campaign for more youth centres and youth participation projects for young people. And then it was more talking on behalf of young people, forums. So I was used to public speaking. 16, 17, used to public speaking. And then it just kind of quickly changed into being a young mother, families, responsibilities, my commitment to what it was that I was focusing on at the time. And at that time, it's been raising my kids. But I'm getting to an age now where I'm a bit like, I've still got it in me. And what inspires me is my family, first and foremost. But it's also purposeful. I have to give thanks to my Creator because that's what I believe in. At the end of the day, I'm going to channel that appreciation and that praise in whatever it is I do. So in my case, it tends to be acknowledging what journey I've been through and appreciating that through my own journey, came through certain things that were testing and challenging and trying, but I am appreciative now and I see it, and I want other people to understand that there's power in your pain. You can go through the most hardest of times, but at the end of it, that's your journey. That's what makes you you. And for me, that's turned into more of a purposeful journey as well, because now I've got my own like young people's project. I do writing workshops with young people, do performance poetry workshops. I'm trying to set up my own Flow Vortex for young people in association with Flow Vortex. So the very thing, the very platform we stood on, I'm trying to encourage that initiative for young people now. So that, in addition to like bookings and going away and public speaking and talking at different campaigns and organisations, it's gone from strength to strength. But my inspiration is family, God, and my truth.
So, what about you? What will you be doing in the future? What kind of programs and what kind of things do you do now?
Okay, so I'm involved in so many different things. So obviously I co-host. I'm part of the resident poet at down at Y.A.Poetria Club. I'm a flow poet. So we've been involved in creating a new genre of word music. It's available at www.flowvortex.com. That's my plug. I've got my own project, Young Wordsmith Project, which is obviously this initiative that I've set up because 74% of young people in the country are diagnosed with some kind of mental health issue by the age of 14. So that really affected me. I've got a 14-year-old. So the idea that these statistics are available and not enough people are actively campaigning or working with young people, it allowed me to change. A couple of things happened where young people around me were taking their own life, feeling alone, feeling vulnerable, and there isn't enough support there. So for me as a wordsmith and for me as a poet, it's very important for me to understand that it's my responsibility now to do what I need to do, which in this case is writing workshops, performance poetry workshops, intervention programs. There's so many young people that if they just actually wrote about how they felt and felt like someone understood them, that would be life-changing in itself. Then using all of that information to make my own platform, to push that on a political level, to say that, to advocate on behalf of you guys. I'm going to say that you lot need listening to, and that respect needs to be given both ways, and all these other different problems that relate to these policymakers and these systematic tactics that allow young people to feel alone and vulnerable and isolated. And for me, it's very important that my program helps with that. So that's a Young Wordsmith project. Then you've got all of the other work. So whether it's campaigning on behalf of other things. So I'm working with some young people's kind of initiative at the moment called My Script, public speaking, working with different organisations, got some things going on with the council, been working with the Pension Forum in Lewisham, been working with women's charities, been working with Penny Appeal, everything. Yeah, but I mean,
Seriously, she doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's like every time I look at my feet, I'm like, do something else, and it's amazing.
It's hard to justify because sometimes I look at the children and I go, right, I've gone from being 100% available to you to we can't even drive to school run without me going, okay, hold on, someone get me a pen. Because I've got a bar or I've got something that I need to write down or because I've got my next piece or because I've just thought of something I need to do in an email. In addition to holding down other things like a day job, in addition to having my own business, there are so many different aspects to my life at the moment, but I don't know how to explain it. This is a time, so I don't regret it. I'm doing it for my kids, so I know 100% that is my foundation. And if I made now, and I'm so appreciative of my journey so far anyway, and this is less than a year, then imagine what I'm going to do in 2, 3, 4 years. I'm pushing the purposeful work, and I'm really blessed to be part of certain creative collectives, movements, projects, everything. So if the blessings are coming to me, all I've got to do is really give thanks and try and do what I need to do to push the purpose back. Yeah.
You're brilliant. I'm totally in awe. I just think what you were saying a bit about mental health, I think it's key, and I think it plays a massive factor in the mentality of our young people. And I think writing for me was definitely my therapy. I've been writing I've always written, but I'll say for the last 10 years I've been writing, but a lot of time it was therapy. Moments of low points where I would write something and be able to feel like I freed myself of it.
Yeah.
So I think keep doing what you're doing.
I think it goes through different stages as well, because for me, I can write about so many different things. What do I write about? Bringing up children who are of colour. Do I write about not being a traditional Asian woman? Do I write about wanting to affect change within my community? Do I write about the political side of things, the emotional side of things? Do I write about how it felt to just have a 2-year-old? I've got a 2-year-old, to just have a baby 2 years ago and go through postnatal depression, or to feel alone. Because I wouldn't even describe it as postnatal depression, but to feel like you're not yourself, especially after you've just had a baby, or you're bringing up kids, or you don't know your own identity. There are too many aspects which I feel like
it's all relevant though, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's all relevant.
And it means that somebody's going to listen, and somebody's going to go, yeah, I needed to hear that. I got it. I'm going to take some strength from that. And as long as somebody's doing that, then I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay, so maybe, are you ready to give us your first spoken word performance?
Of course, of course. Okay, so this is my one for young women.
Okay, so if you go over to the booth.
Okie dokie. At the sandal, you sound off, mouth off, convince you slow down, you slow down, throw down just to take your crown off. Your friends are out late and you're the only one with curfew. They've got the latest gear on, you asked for it too, but feel like nobody heard you. You're in a group, barely. Mum's always on your back and says real life is scary, it's fairy tales lady. You met someone, you want to see him now, your baby's thinking of babies, maybe if mums did more. I don't know how much more they can do to ensure that you don't endure, but maybe if they come into your room each night, kiss you goodbye, push for a more detailed reply to the times when they ask, how was your day? And you'd say, just fine. Maybe then you wouldn't be online, thinking that your shape or your face or your waist wasn't right. Maybe you wouldn't be there ready to meet any guy that knows nothing about you. Maybe you wouldn't be up late at night with a knife ready to slice through flesh, convinced that everybody else in your life is better off without you. A couple of teachers have made you doubt you. You're not the best in school, but that's not the best thing about you. Hear me, please, because that's not you. There's more to life than road boys or having big boobs. More to life than tutorials you watch on YouTube. More to life in this life you live from your bedroom. More to being queens, more to being you, more to being added, more to being moved to, more to the banter, more to that girl you feel you got to be rude to. Society lacks faith and there's no purpose, so we need you. Need the real you. Need you to love yourself, so when you talk they believe you. Need you to see through. Need you to see through what they don't want you to. Need you to know that I see you. I see you. And I don't want you in that ICU, cold, cold world. So now there's that ICU, ice in you. Wolf, whittle, belittle from some rude boy that's been nice in you. Trying to take a slice of you. I mean, we need you. And I see you. Need you to see through what they don't want you to. To show other people in need, other queens what it means to use all of the means that God gives you. For you to know what's up. Know that you're protected, know that you're loved, know that you're special, and about that self-love. I mean that self-love, self-help for your own self-development, self-worth for your self-esteem, so everything else seems irrelevant. So it's evident, you're elegant, eloquent, you're intelligent, perfection, you're excellence. Testament to God, so you stay definite. Sentiment to love, so self-love is of your benefit. You're no Barbie with no Ken, no Lois, no Clark Kent, no damsel in distress, you're the best, and yes, you're worth it. Side-eye anybody who doesn't step up will deserve it. You've got to make him earn it. You've got to put the work in. You've got to be ready with those lessons. If you're invested, you will learn. It's important to set expectations. If met, you'll get information that lead to inclinations that make or break your foundations. Be careful. Keep yourself on that pedestal. Stand tall so they don't knock you. You've got things to do. You've got plans to see through. You don't need to get moved to by kings or young queens that won't teach you. Those who move beneath you. Tell you sweet nothings to say in a game where they speech you. Stand tall. Know you're dope so they won't reach you. Remember God. Remember to fear what you do. Know that there's good forces and there's bad forces that sometimes work against you. And us against you may have questions. See, my daughter may grow without the latest phone, but she'll grow with no lessons. She's blessed. That's my blessing. Don't ever start obsessing and all this. Start investing in yourself right now. Keep your mind aligned with the Most High and pick up your crown. Okay?
You feel the power from that one.
That's what I said. You give me your response to that, because it's like I get goosebumps every single time, and the uplifting, like I can't think.
I know that's aimed. Sorry to cut you off. I know that's aimed at empowering women, but that can empower anyone. That's empowering me to want to go and help empower women to do as much as they can. That was deep, bro.
Amazing.
Do you see how it's completely overlooked? People don't really fully understand the power of spoken word. I don't fully understand it. I've only recently harnessed. No, I feel this, and I'm going to feed it into my actual art. Yeah. And if I do this now, there's got to be other people that we can get to do the same thing. Yeah. So for me, it is the movement. It is the movement. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, amazing. And I think a lot of the time, for our young girls, at the moment in the press as well, young boys, they get a lot of attention. Knife crime, stabbing, and it's a dangerous world out there. But for our young girls, the messages that they receive are so confusing. You're not sure where you're supposed to be. Am I supposed to be a bad bee? Am I supposed to... You know what I mean? If you act one way, you criticise. If you act another. And it's so hard for our young girls growing up. So that poem, first time I heard it, it touched me. And I'm so grateful to have it here on my show. And hopefully lots of young girls hear it. And mothers will hear it. Fathers will hear it.
Yeah.
Because the pull of socialisation of our children, what they find important, what they see, our voice starts to be quieter. You know, like when they're little, everything that your parents say you listen to, but then as they get out there into society, the influences change.
Yeah.
And that, I think that poem just captures it so amazingly.
It's interesting because when I wrote it, I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Like, I've got poems about knife crime, I've got poems about young, men, I've got poems about toxic masculinity, I've got poems about so many different things. But for that one, I remember when I wrote it, I was like, okay, I like it. I think I like it. I'm going to learn it. So I memorised it. Okay, got it. And then I went and spoke to women. Oh, I say women, girls. I spoke to young girls, exactly who it was targeted at. And I saw all of them, some of them were crying, some of them were like, no, no one's telling them. No one's there going, do you know what? You're special. I hear you. It's okay. You're over-sexualised. The radio's playing songs where all you're supposed to do is go and meet some men and boys, or do you know what I mean?
And it's confusion. Like you've got, for example, whoa, that song.
Yeah.
Of Conan, don't get saliva on the chair, you elastic band, you came prepared. The girl's thinking, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she does that, next thing you go, oh yeah, that girl's at Uckers. I mean, where are you supposed to be? And we need strong role models.
There's no one saying it's okay to not be like that either.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing you can be, and you've got to dress a certain way or be a certain way or act a certain way. And for me, I'm worried. I've got 3 daughters.
Yeah.
I can't even throw a son in the mix there. Just 3 straight daughters that you can't really afford for them to get. It's dangerous enough as it is. You've got to worry about all these different experiences that they're going to have. But in a society where everything is glamorized and your government are failing you, they're telling you that, okay, yeah, we really understand there are problems and the epidemic with knife crime, but the best we can do is chicken boxes. Or, okay,
last week.
You know what I'm saying?
Can we start it?
Yeah, I know. I'm hoosering. And or they're saying, there's an issue with teenage pregnancies and young women, but hold on, what? Nobody's fully supporting, the mental health of these young women, all these young people, full stop. Society, the community, the families, the people affected by all these different things. You just got to know one girl that's been in contact with one boy who's not doing the right thing, and that spreads. All of us are affected in some way or another by the actions of these young people, and I'm not going to play dumb about it. That's us, that's our people, So yeah, it's hard.
Keep doing it. Keep speaking the word. Yeah. Say the things as they say.
That's one of the things they say.
You hear them in all the say the things. She said the things.
Okay, you're going to come.
Oh yeah.
My go. Thank you for having us here.
Thanks for coming.
Honestly, I really. Most of the poets, anybody in the spoken word community that has pushed me, encouraged me, cheered for me, clicked for me, tapped for me, shared a post, put me on a story, liked anything I've ever done. Just people that support me. It's interesting because it's a whole scene out there that we all back each other and learn each other's words and, really just support each other. Yeah. You can see it? Yeah, you've seen it firsthand. And my family, my friends, and just the Most High, really. That's it. That was my best answer. Why didn't I say it first? Sorry. That's my thanks.
Well, I'd just like to thank you both so much for coming. The discussion's been brilliant. I think last week everyone was saying how amazing it was, and you lot come through for me.